Let me get this straight. So you're trying to get a job working in a restaurant, but you don't have any experience. You're probably wondering, is it even possible? Will anyone hire you? Can you start off, especially if you're trying to start off as a server or a waiter right away? The answer is it is possible, but it's also going to take some work. So in this video, I'm going to walk you through the 4 different ways to get into a restaurant without any experience, and I'll walk you through each of those steps, and I'll give you a couple extra pointers to make sure that you're going into that interview feeling confident and like you can take on this job, even without being a server for the last 5 years. But before we dive into all of that, I just wanted to welcome you. If this is your first time here, welcome to WaiterWise. I'm Laurel, and we produce a ton of videos all about what it's like to be successful working in a restaurant. It's a tough role, and so it takes support and some good training to get you feeling like you can do this. Right now, we're coming out with a lot of videos all about the restaurant job interview because, you know, it's intimidating and there's a lot to think about before you head into that interview. If you find this video valuable, please make sure to give us a thumbs up and click on that subscribe button over there so you don't miss out on any of our other trainings. The first thing you have to do before we get into the 4 different ways to start working in the restaurant is you have to inventory your skills. Basically, you're going up to a hiring manager and you're just saying, trust me, I'm gonna make a great fit for your restaurant. But you don't know, they don't know, you don't have any experience. So you have to believe that you can do the job before you're able to convince somebody else that you'd make a good hire. So the best way to do this is grab a pen and paper and just write down each and every skill that you can think of that somebody in your position would have to have. So if you're a server, you know that they have to be great with customers, that they have to be able to think on their feet, that they have to answer questions well, multitask, be agile. You know, it's a huge list when you start thinking about it. So as you're writing down that list, you should be thinking to yourself, do I have these skills? Can I do this? Or can I learn this? Because that's gonna help you sound a lot more confident when you're selling yourself to a hiring manager. Because basically, without experience, you're selling your personality to them and you're trying to convince them that you are trainable and that you can learn the job. This is such an important step that I'll probably make a follow-up video walking through exactly how you should do this and what you should be thinking about, because it is going to set you apart from all the other people who walk in and don't believe in themselves and don't understand that they have to first know that they can do the job before anyone else is going to take a chance on them. I think you understand how important that is. So now we're going to jump into the first way to get your job at a restaurant without any prior experience, and that is networking. Now, a lot of people don't like this step. They feel a little uncomfortable asking friends, family members, and extended acquaintances to help them and to be looking out for them. But there's something so valuable about getting a personal reference where if you have an old friend who knows somebody who works in a restaurant, maybe it's a hiring manager, maybe it's just somebody who's been there for a while, and they say, hey, I've got this really great person who's looking to get started in the restaurant industry. Would you be willing to sit down with them and have an interview? Friends, that's huge. That's how you get in the door. That's how you at least get the ability to convince somebody that you would be a good fit for their restaurant. So it's a good start, and it's definitely the easiest way to get into a new job at a restaurant without a ton of experience. The second method is to make sure that you're finding hungry restaurants or restaurants that are at least hiring people. Because even an experienced server is going to have a tough time trying to get a job at a restaurant that doesn't need any employees right now. And so what you want to be doing is searching on Craigslist, on Monster, some other job boards, and seeing if you can find restaurants that have been looking to fill positions. And then there you are. You go apply for that position. You can also check the website of the restaurant, and oftentimes they'll list what positions are open and what they have available. But it's much easier to get in the door, especially if they're trying to hire several servers or they've been looking for employees for a while. Now, a lot of restaurants have what they call seasons, where it's that peak time for them. So if it's in a tourist area, this might be the summertime, whereas other restaurants might hire heavily before the holidays because they know they'll have more people coming in. So you want to be thinking about when are restaurants hiring and how can you get in when they're looking to stack up more employees and make sure that you're one of those. The third way is just to get in the door. Now, this might not seem super exciting to you, especially if you really want to start as a server, but a lot of restaurants are hesitant to start people off as servers because there's just a skill set that you might need to know ahead of time, and they just don't have that confidence in you yet. And so your best option is, if you want to work at that restaurant, just get in the door as a host, as a busser, as a food runner, any other position, and just prove yourself over and over again doing that position, and let the hiring manager know that ultimately you want to become a server, but you're willing to start here and you're excited to start here because you're looking for that opportunity to move up to the next level. I've talked to a lot of people who are afraid that if they start as a host, that they might never get transitioned up. But that's just not the case, because even if your restaurant doesn't transition you up in a timely manner and they're not talking to you about promotions and things, well, a year later, friend, you have experience. Now you're able to go to other restaurants and you're in the game. So just see it as a stepping stone. Sometimes you have to take a step back before you're able to take 2 steps forward. So don't get discouraged if you do have to start as something other than a server right off the bat. You'll get there. So the final way is definitely the toughest. Basically, it's the good old-fashioned door-to-door approach. Now, this isn't going in blind. This isn't just going from restaurant to restaurant to restaurant looking for a job, but I would be strategic about it. I would, if they have a way, send in your resume ahead of time. Send it in online. And likely, if you don't have experience and they're not starving for employees, you probably won't hear from them. So what you should do is go in and follow up. This is a great opportunity to try to get in front of somebody and have a face-to-face conversation. Now, remember when I said that without experience, you're selling your personality and the ability to be trained? Now that's exactly what we're doing here. You are trying to sell them you, and that you're gonna be great at this job, that you're gonna be an addition to their restaurant, and that they really need to hire you. So by getting in front of them and actually talking to them, they're able to get a little bit more of a feel of your personality and what you would have to offer them as a potential hire. This is tough, and a lot of restaurants are just gonna ask you to leave a resume at the host stand and not even let you sit down to the hiring manager. But you're not there for that. You're there to actually make an impression with that hiring manager. So if they're not available at that moment when you walked in, try again another time, because you really want to make that connection, because that is really the only way that they're going to build confidence in you as a potential hire. Most restaurants have what's called a lull, and that's kind of like a down period between lunch and dinner, and that's usually a really good time to talk to a hiring manager, because if you go during a rush, obviously they're not going to be able to talk to you. So you need to find time when it's convenient for them to have a few minutes to sit with you so that you can present yourself and that you would be a great employee for them. This is hard, I'm telling you, and you might have to try several restaurants before you'll find somebody who will even sit down with you to chat. But it can be done, and if you're persistent and you keep going back and you keep trying to get an audience, somebody's gonna take the bite and they're gonna give you an opportunity. All right, one more quick thing to mention is that it's sometimes easier to get a restaurant at a chain company instead of an individually owned company, because a chain restaurant is going to much more likely have a training process that they send all their servers through, and they probably have hired more people without experience and they've seen them become successful. So they might be a little more willing to take you on as a risk instead of a smaller company, smaller restaurant that doesn't have as many new, inexperienced servers starting with them. I believe that working in the restaurant can teach you a ton of skills for the rest of your life, and that you should not let not having experience hold you back from getting in the door and learning those skills. I hope we were able to help and give you some insight of different ways to get in the door and to get started. If you found value, again, give us a thumbs up and click on that subscribe button, and we'll see you real soon.